Something that's important in pretty much every game is the settings. And my game is now far enough along where I can start concerning myself with some of these settings, like gameplay options and audio tuning. And since I already have my menu structure built, all I have to do is figure out how to implement these options. So the first step was just making the settings screen and making it look on par with the rest of the UI, giving it that cardboard and marker look that everything else has. And I also added a helpful tooltip for the options in case it isn't clear. Also, if it isn't clear, you can wishlist the game on Steam now using the link in the description, if you want to, or not. That's okay, I guess. And now to add some options. The first one I added was the ability to remove the curvature from the player's hand, in case anyone prefers that style. Something that I feel most people wouldn't change, but I have the ability to add it, so why not? Then I added a toggle for camera shake because I know that a lot of people don't like that. I'm often one of them. But this means I also need to add camera shake into the game. My mental order of operations is a little bit messed up here, but it'll work in the end. Probably. To implement the camera shake, I made this cool little spawn effect where the character rises up and then slams down, which will shake the camera and create a particle effect under them. Now that that's working, I wanted to add another setting into the mix, and that would be camera focus. But this time I think I'll do it the right way around and actually program the feature first, then make the option to turn it off. I want to make the camera automatically pan toward whatever's happening in the game, whether that be a character spawning in or a card being used or something. It took me a long time to get it working because I was experimenting with different methods of movement and various camera zooms, but eventually I got it working in a way that I was happy with, and it makes my game feel a lot closer to being an actual game. And then I went ahead and added the option to toggle it off. Next on the list of things to do this week was some map improvements. As nice as it is looking at this barren, bland piece of cardboard, I want to add something to it, so I'm going to experiment with adding some kind of a structure to the battlefield. Oh, and I finally got around to drawing an objective. It's kind of important because it's only the main focus of the battle. I made it a crystal because I thought it was a good idea of something to attack, because it's obvious and looks important. And I can make different changes to it later on, like making it appear different with cracks and stuff based on the damage done to it. But back to the structure now. I drew this thing that started out as some kind of ruins and then turned into a half-built wooden building of some kind. But what's that old coding phrase? Make it work, then make it pretty? It's something like that, but the concept still applies here.
Alright, if you say so.
I'm going for functionality first, and then I'll make it look good, or at least as much as I can. But a problem with it, and one that I foresaw a while ago, is the character rendering. I have all the sprites in the game built on different layers, so that means some of them will display on top of each other. So because the character and the structure are on different layers, it creates kind of this overlap problem. For now, I got around it with the simple solution of using a sprite mask. In other words, I put this effect around the character that kind of hides anything in front of it that's on a different layer. And in my signature style, it looks kind of bad right now, but I'll fix it later. But for now, I don't want to linger too much on something small, because it was time to get to the next thing on the to-do list, which is adding audio, music, and sound effects. So I found some music off the Unity asset store that sounds more or less what suits the vibe that I want the game to have. So here's a music choice that I'm going with for now. Then I made some audio sliders in my new settings menu. I plugged in the new sound effect and music mixers that I made, so it should save their values, and it would load them up whenever the player started the game. And while I was working on audio, I decided to change up the equipment a little bit. So now each equipment piece has its own sound effect when it's added to the character. And I also made this summoning sound for the character. And lastly, I made this whoosh sound whenever the turn changes. And that's all I got for you this time. Feel free to let me know any ideas you have for new settings or something. And if you like the look of the game or the video, consider leaving a like or subscribing, because that tells me I should definitely keep going with this. The game's Steam link will be in the description if you're interested. Anyway, bye.